Please be seated, everyone. Good afternoon, and what a wonderful, beautiful afternoon it is. I'm delighted to welcome you to the Summer 2021 Commencement Ceremonies for the University of Michigan School of Social Work. I want to welcome our special guest, Delegate Kathy Tran, graduate of our own program several years ago. Her family is here in the balcony, and I want to give a special welcome to Davin, Charlotte, Quinn, Elise, and Warren, her children. So let's please welcome Kathy and her family. Let me also extend my welcome to our inspirational faculty and staff of the School of Social Work, who made our graduates' accomplishments and today's ceremony possible. And most importantly, I want to welcome and congratulate our graduates of Summer 2021. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Lynn Videcka. I'm the Dean of the School of Social Work and very proud and happy to be here. We haven't seen each other in a year and a half. Unbelievable. It's really a joyous occasion. Before we officially begin today's ceremony, I would like to introduce Clinical Assistant Professor Abigail Eiler to make our native land acknowledgement. Abigail.
Buju, hello, ni gonga makwain dishnakaz, shani taskawara undao, makwa undoram, Hammond, Indiana and Donjaba, Kenton, Michigan undao. The University of Michigan School of Social Work is located in the Huron River watershed on land stewarded by the Nishwe, Ishkadewin, and Anishinaabe, the Three Fires people, who are the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi. As we work, live, and learn on these territories, we must keep in mind the ongoing effects of colonization, the community's struggle for self-determination, colonial state violence, and the recognition of Indigenous sovereignty. Through scholarship and pedagogy, we work to create a future in which the past is thoroughly understood and the present aims to enhance social justice while enacting the principles of care and compassion. Miigwech, thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. This is such a celebratory day. I am so honored to preside over this ceremony of the School of Social Work. It is our centennial year. Graduates, you are part of the Centennial, the 100th class graduating from the University of Michigan School of Social Work. Let's give them another hand. And this is our first in-person graduation since December 2019. It is a joyous day. This class, our Centennial class, has the distinction of living and learning through the most disruptive period of modern history, the COVID pandemic, and through the racial inequality reawakening with another epidemic, that of police violence against Black and brown people. MSW graduates, you are an impressive class. 132 of you are graduating today with your MSW Master of Social Work degree. 4 of you are completing dual degrees, combining the MSW with another discipline, including public policy, education, and public health. You represent undergraduate social work and other undergraduate degrees from many universities and colleges, including many fine public and private institutions in Michigan, and from universities across the United States and across the world. States that are highly represented include New York, Colorado, Ohio, Florida, and that's just to name a few. Graduates, 72 of you graduate as interpersonal practice majors. That is a clinical social work major. 17 of you are community organizers. 15 are child and family specialists. 8 of you hold a focus in management and leadership. 7 of you majored in global social work. 6 majored in older adults and families pathway. And 4 of you are graduating with a focus on policy and political social work. And 3 as program evaluation and applied research specialists. That's our specialization. Collectively, you have provided nearly 100,000 hours of field internship service to the communities. You provided vital and innovative services in Michigan and beyond. You pivoted and adapted to telehealth and remote work during the pandemic. Here are a few examples of our graduates' contributions through their field placements to the betterment of society during the global pandemic when social work services were needed more than ever before. Students played important roles during the pandemic, and here are a few of them. Our graduates provided diversity, equity, and inclusion and bias training for law enforcement officers in Wayne County. Our graduates provided mental health 101 information to high school students in collaboration with the Center for Educational Outreach. Our graduates provided case management services and telehealth support through the Dean of Students office here at U of M for students who were in quarantine and off campus due to the pandemic. Our graduates developed a bilingual COVID panel to provide important information and address vaccine concerns for Arab American communities. Our graduates worked at the YMCA to provide training for camp counselors on white fragility and mental health issues so they could be inclusive and supportive to the youth they were serving. Our graduates supported expectant mothers through Michigan Medicine's Stay-at-Home Safe program, which focused on COVID-informed prenatal care and delivery practices. Class of 2021, you reached out, you raised hope, and you changed society. You come from every walk of life and from diverse locations and backgrounds. You came together here in Ann Arbor for a common purpose, to become a proud graduate of the University of Michigan School of Social Work, and to become a social worker, a worker who dedicates their life to transforming other people's lives through transforming society and making our world a better place. Please join me once again in recognizing the contributions and accomplishments of our graduates. Here's to you. This has been a traumatic period in history, and each of us, every one of us, has experienced grief and loss in a profound and personal way during the pandemic. Let's take a brief moment of silence to remember those who have passed away but are here with us in spirit. It may be a former teacher, a cherished friend, or a beloved family member. Let's take a moment of silence for those we have lost. Thank you. And now at this time, I want to acknowledge and thank our superb faculty for your commitment to our exceptional students. Thanks each and every one of you. I know the faculty joins me in sharing our best wishes for the graduates, with a hope that the future holds great promise for each and every one of you. Would faculty members please stand? We're going to applaud them again and show our appreciation for all the excellent education. I'm particularly excited today that we will be recognizing an exceptional individual faculty member who was selected by the School of Social Work Student Union to receive the Teacher of the Year Award, the highest award our students give at our school. At this time, I will invite members of the School of Social Work Student Union to the podium to make the presentation. Please join me up here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nevo Polonsky, and I'm the president of our student union.
Hello, everyone. My name is Douglas Griffiths, and I'm student representative on the student union.
Hello, everyone. I'm Blake Newman, and I'm the treasurer on our student union.
And hello, everyone. My name is Keonta McKinley, and I serve as the social chairperson for the student union. Nice to meet everyone. Thank you. So unfortunately, I left my script with my mom, so I have my cell phone, so thank God for technology. So I have the honor, and I serve again as a social chairperson. The Student Union is pleased to announce and recognizing a professor at the School of Social Work who has demonstrated a commitment to improving diversity, equity, and inclusion at the school and in the community as well. They have supported students within their role as professor. The Student Union asked our lovely students that are graduating today and the rest of the school for their assistance in identifying individuals whose skills, dedication, understanding, and caring for students have made a positive impact on the lives of students at the School of Social Work and whose service has been truly outstanding in the contributions to the overall positive climate. So it gives me great pleasure to provide this outstanding award to Dr. Shanna Katari. And then, thank you. So I just have a few words from the students about the 2021 Teacher of the Year Award recipient. They are a PODS champion for the student body at the School of Social Work. They have offered consistent, genuine, and wholesome support to students without fail. Regardless of personal connection, they have consistently fought for a better treatment of LGBTQ+ students and topics. They frequently mentor LGBTQ+ students in their programs, serve as advisor for the Queer Advocacy Coalition, yay, and lead Sexuality, Relationship, and Gender Research Collective. No other professor is doing more for the queer community at the social work school. They demonstrate a commitment to improving diversity, equity, and inclusion at the school and community. All their courses infuse DEI. In addition, they teach special courses related to LGBTQIA+ identified individuals. They are always the first person to respond or check in when there's an event in the community, both at the School of Social Work and at the Ann Arbor community at large. Through their classes, they talk about their own personal and professional work to the commitment of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which serves as an inspiration to their students. They actively engage with the student population at the School of Social Work. They make themselves available for both students in their classes and the broader School of Social Work community, offering to provide advising and support and always making sure students feel like they deserve to be here and creating a sense of belonging. So once again, let's congratulate Dr. Shanna Katari.
Thank you, student leaders, and special congratulations, Shanna, for your dedication and your truly inspirational work with students. It is a deep honor to be selected by the student body for this award. Congratulations. Yeah, let's give her another round of applause. And now, graduates, I want to take a moment to personally congratulate you. These last 16 months have changed and challenged all of us in ways we could not predict in advance. In March 2020, we faced the pandemic and the sudden disruption of our daily patterns in reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. In September, when most of you began the program, we went very quickly from a planned in-person semester to an all-remote semester due to the pandemic. Many of us lost loved ones, and the pandemic has had a profound effect on each of us, each in a unique way. Then in May 2020, the world erupted in the wake of George Floyd's brutal killing. Since then, protesters, including many in your class, have taken to the streets in large cities and small towns, calling for racial justice and an end to racial violence. We witness forward movement toward justice stimulated by racial justice activism, including the conviction of the police officer who killed George Floyd. But the killings have not ended. In the year after George Floyd's death, by his death in 2020, May 2020, at least 229 Black people have been killed by police. That's just in the past year. Black people are more than 3 times as likely to be killed by police than white people, despite being more likely than whites to be unarmed. This is a moment where our whole school has become engaged in working for racial justice, working to achieve a higher level, a better society. Graduates, Michigan social workers everywhere look forward to joining you to bring about positive social change. Our own profession has undertaken an overdue examination of the history of exclusion and racism, even in social work. Students, your activism has succeeded in pushing this overdue examination forward. Our profession will better achieve its aims of equity and inclusion as a result of your efforts. Throughout it all, you have adapted. You completed your studies under different and unexpected circumstances. Your classwork was almost entirely online, and your field work required new levels of adaptability, ingenuity, and resolve. At the same time, you answered your calling as social workers by stepping up to the front lines, speaking out, and contributing to a better society. We're very, very proud of your dedication, your achievements, and your resiliency. We're thrilled to be able to celebrate you today in person. You've earned the respect, admiration, and gratitude from the Michigan social work community and the university. You hold a special place in the history of the school and in my heart for the courage, tenacity, and flexibility that you showed during this most unexpected year. And now you are proud graduates of the Centennial class of the University of Michigan School of Social Work. Graduates, you are truly a historic class. In the words of Maya Angelou, graduation represents a moment when, and I quote, "the horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change." It's now your time, graduates, to take those steps and to make your contributions to the world. Congratulations. And now I'm honored to welcome and introduce you to our Centennial Commencement Keynote speaker, MSW program graduate and delegate in the state of Virginia, Kathy Tran. Let me tell you a little bit about Kathy. Kathy Tran fled Vietnam with her parents as boat refugees when she was just 7 months old. Her family risked everything to come to America in search of hope, opportunity, and freedom, values that Kathy fights for every day in the Virginia House of Delegates. As a delegate for Virginia's 42nd District over the last 4 years, Kathy Tran has passed 29 bills, including bills to protect coverage for pre-existing health conditions, to expand voter access, to improve workers' rights, to protect waterways, and to make Virginia a more welcoming and inclusive place. Even before being elected, Kathy Tran devoted her career, her social work career, to ensuring all workers, not just social workers, all workers, have a chance to achieve the American dream. She served for 12 years at the U.S. Department of Labor and worked as an advocate with the National Immigration Forum. Kathy Tran graduated with her bachelor's degree from Duke University, and she earned her MSW degree from the University of Michigan. Kathy is here today with her husband, Matt, and I forgot to especially welcome Matt earlier. I do so now. And her 5 children, and they come here today from West Springfield, Virginia, their home. Please join me in welcoming Kathy Tran.
Thank you so much, Dean Videcka. Good afternoon, class of 2021. How you feeling out there? I am so just honored to be here and say, good afternoon also to Dean Videcka, this amazing School of Social Work faculty and staff, and all the family and friends who are with us today, and I know also virtually. What an accomplishment to be here together to celebrate all of you. It's hard enough to complete a master's program at our exalted School of Social Work, but given that we are in this global health pandemic, your achievement is even more extraordinary. Today and the days throughout your journey are a true testament to your grit and determination to stay the course. The community of support that you have built together, spanning time zones and continents, your ingenuity at adapting coursework and field placements in a virtual world, and as someone who, alas, is at the point in my life where my children have to help me with technology, your tech savviness for mastering different meeting platforms and all those other tools to get through your classes. So congratulations to you. We should celebrate them. It's an honor to be here, to be home at the School of Social Work in this milestone year of a Centennial. And I'm giving you fair warning, I might get a little emotional. I've been emotional all week, and my kids keep asking, are you gonna cry now? Because this fall marks 20 years that I started my own studies here. And a little over 18 years ago, I stood on a stage similar to this one to give the student address at my own Msw Commencement. Then I shared my favorite Vietnamese proverb. I'm sorry, I was just trying to think about how this would be translated from Vietnamese into ASL. But đường đi khó không khó vì ngang sông cách núi, mà khó vì lòng người ngại núi ê sông. I will translate. The road we take is not hard because it traverses rivers and mountains, but it is hard because we fear those rivers and mountains. Then and now, I do believe it's how we approach our pathway that matters. But I've learned a few things since I left Ann Arbor in 2003 in my little Corolla and coming back now in a minivan full of kids. 1, always follow your heart. 2, stay in the fight. 3, we rise only when we all rise. And 4, don't ever wait to be asked. Follow your heart. Follow your heart even when you're not sure how to articulate what is in your heart. When I applied to the School of Social Work, I didn't know very much about the field. I finished undergrad with a history degree, thinking I was going to law school, but then I took the LSATs and realized that was not the path for me. Up until that point, all of my work experience was in serving immigrants and refugees in the New York City area, in Boston, in the Silicon Valley. And I was really committed to uplifting immigrants and refugees because of my family's experience as boat refugees from Vietnam. But I couldn't articulate exactly what I wanted to do with this passion. What path forward could there be? And one of my classmates was applying to social work programs, and I thought I'd check them out too. But I wasn't sure what I would find. And then I read our School of Social Work's website. And I loved hearing Dean Videka when she said earlier, reach out, raise hope, and change society. I still get chills when I read that mission statement, when I hear that for the first time and every single time since then, because that is exactly what I wanted to do. I found the program for me as you have found yours. Reach out. Lift up the voices of vulnerable people and communities that may not have your privilege or your opportunities. Raise hope. Identify the services, the resources, the policies, the promising practices that's just going to make life easier, better and brighter and more fair for everyone. And change society. Do the hard work to change the world, to make it more just and equitable. Follow your heart even when you don't know where it will lead you. After I graduated, I was accepted to the Presidential Management Fellowship Program. And I didn't know how to talk about my values and the skills I learned here at the School of Social Work in a language that anyone in the federal government would understand. Many of the other people had masters in public policy, public administration, business administration. There were some lawyers. I remember at the job fair, so many hiring officials, upon learning I had an MSW, were like, well, I guess maybe you can find a job at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, or maybe the Social Security Administration. And those are really great agencies, but they just didn't speak to my heart the same way. And I actually interviewed for a position with the General Services Administration. If you're not familiar, the GSA manages federal government buildings, vehicles, and other property. And you might just be like, what was she, as a social worker, trying to get a job at a property management firm? They had the same questions I did, right? They were like, why do you want to work here? And all I could say was, I really cared about immigrant and refugee communities and their well-being, and if you have property in those communities, then maybe you can help those people. There was total silence at the other end of that phone interview, and you can imagine I didn't get a job there. But I ended up getting a job at the US Department of Labor. I wasn't familiar with the term workforce development before then, but I realized I'd been in that field all along through undergraduate and my work here, field placements here at the School of Social Work, helping immigrant and refugees learn vocational English, prepare for job interviews, gain entrepreneurship and literacy skills. And the mission of the US Department of Labor to make sure that people have access to good jobs with good pay, benefits, and protections, and to make sure that employers have a qualified workforce, just really aligned with my values. Growing up in the Vietnamese diaspora, I saw many families experiencing challenges like mine. My father was a practicing dentist in Vietnam, but we didn't have the ability for him to study for his licensure in the US immediately after we resettled here. He initially tried to find a job as a dental technician, which doesn't require a high school diploma, but he couldn't find a job because he didn't have the English language skills, or people thought he was overqualified. So Mr. Sam was the only person to take a chance on my dad, seeing him as somebody who could mentor others. My dad's first job was paid minimum wage, $3.25 an hour in the early 80s. From there, he was working, was able to save, became a small business owner, and got his dental license 14 years after we came to the US. And I was at the US Department of Labor for 12 years, working in national workforce development policies and programs. I was then and still am motivated by my commitment to the dignity of work, the ability to provide for yourself and your family, to save for a brighter future for your children, and for immigrants and refugees to figure out that struggle between who you were in your homeland and the work you did then, plus the work you do here in your new home. We all deserve to work to our full career potential. Stay in the fight. Change is hard, it takes time, sometimes a lot of time, but we have to be resilient. We have to stay in the fight. COVID-19 has underscored the systemic inequities that so many people face daily. Expensive health care, low-wage employment that puts workers on the front line of a pandemic without enough protective equipment and sick leave, housing and food insecurity, lack of affordable childcare, an overwhelmed mental health system, and an education system whose quality is dependent upon your zip code. Then we faced a racial and social justice reckoning, confronting an unjust criminal justice system that has disproportionately locked up and killed Black and brown people throughout our history. All of this coming on the heels of a tumultuous 4 years where the core values of our democracy were questioned, culminating on January 6th with an insurrection at the US Capitol and continued assaults on our election systems. And at times, it's just simply been too much. Like many of you, I was scared, anxious, angry. I felt mobilized, dedicated, overwhelmed, and exhausted, and sometimes all at once. There are so many issues that need to be addressed so urgently. But no matter how many social media posts you make, how many marches you're in, how many letters to your political representatives, how many talks in our family with our kids about our future, it seems like nothing can change. And I say this as a state legislator. I have the opportunity and the power to introduce and pass legislation to address some of these issues. But it's hard, change. Sometimes it takes legislation, and often it takes the changing of minds and hearts. All of that takes time, a lot of time. I want to tell you the story of how this plays out in real life. Just before the 4th of July holiday weekend, my constituent Dan wrote to me asking for help with his application for Medicaid. He submitted his application 4 long months ago and had not gotten a response. In July 2020, during the pandemic, he lost his job. He was with less than 2 weeks' notice. His owner closed shop because of the pandemic and their economic worries. Dan was able to negotiate some health insurance through November of 2020. His last day of work was July 28th. The next day, he underwent spinal surgery. In mid-September, his wife was diagnosed with cancer and had to have immediate surgery. In October, she had another procedure where all or part of 6 different organs were removed. Dan postponed his job search to take care of his family, but that November, his COBRA coverage for health insurance ended. He had to pay out of pocket over $2,600 a month to get coverage. He was cashing out on his retirement accounts to pay his bills. And in February, when the COBRA coverage ended, Dan learned he had to have another spinal surgery. I literally cried reading Dan's email, and I know that you have been working with people who have been facing such monumental challenges, both before and during this pandemic. Within just a few days, we were able to help Dan get his Medicaid application reviewed, and you'll be happy to know he and his whole family were approved for health care. When Dan found out, he wrote to me, "I have my imaging scheduled for tomorrow, and we're already working on approval for my wife's cancer follow-up. I still have a lot to figure out when it comes to bills that we've paid, but at least I can now breathe easier, knowing we can move forward with the medical help needed and begin the journey to get back on our own 2 feet. But I want to make clear that getting this life-saving health insurance coverage for Dan did not happen simply because I asked our Virginia Department of Medical Assistance to review his application. The journey started way before, 11 years before, when the Affordable Care Act was first signed into law in 2020, allowing states the option of expanding Medicaid to provide coverage to more low-income individuals. In Virginia, advocates first presented the need for Medicaid expansion in 2012 to Senate and House leaders. But we didn't have the votes to pass Medicaid expansion. You can say that some members of the General Assembly worked really hard to obstruct anything related to the Affordable Care Act. In 2013, we had a new governor who was a different party than the majority in the General Assembly, and he tried to get Medicaid expanded through executive order, but was blocked repeatedly from doing so. We were finally able to change those minds and hearts, and we gained enough bipartisan support to pass Medicaid expansion in 2018. 6 years after the initial efforts in Virginia, 8 years after the Affordable Care Act. We thought at that point that 400,000 Virginians would get coverage, but to date, more than 558,000 Virginians have signed up. It has been a lifeline in this global pandemic for people, including my constituent Dan. So stay in the fight. There will be times and even long stretches when we feel scared and anxious, angry, but mobilized and dedicated, overwhelmed and exhausted, but we all need to stay in the fight because change will come. And everything we do today and all the days after are absolutely necessary to achieve that change. We only rise when we all rise. Don't get trapped into thinking there's a limit on hope and opportunity, that there's only so much compassion to go around. Because when we do that, we end up fighting each other for table scraps of progress. We must remember that together we share a goal of building a more just and equitable future for everyone. We rise when we all rise. And my husband and I tell our kids our hearts are big enough to love everyone. And what that means in our personal and professional lives is that we must be good allies. I see this day in and day out in my work in the state legislature. The push to expand Medicaid that I just shared was a sustained effort by a very diverse coalition. Groups interested in healthcare reform, advocates for low-wage workers, advocates for people of color, immigrant rights leaders, reproductive justice organizations, labor unions, hospital associations, local governments, each in their fight for their own reasons, sometimes similar, sometimes different, but at the end, recognizing that this was good for all of Virginia. When it comes to the work of justice, don't let anyone tell you that you have to stay in your own lane. The work of justice takes coalition building and allyship. And certainly there's no one way to be in the fight. You can lead from the front, you can lead from behind, and you can lead every which way in between. Just lead with your heart. Lastly, don't wait to be asked. Change is urgently needed, and you've gained the skills and the confidence throughout your time here at the School of Social Work to act. Don't wait to be asked how something can be done for your client. Don't wait to be asked to take on a leadership role in your organization. Don't wait to be asked to speak out on a topic, and don't wait to be asked to run for office, because many times, no one's gonna ask you. They might not think that someone that looks like you, who worships like you, who loves like you, who has your background, who's a social worker like you, is the, quote, right person for that job. Don't wait to be asked, because you might never be asked. During the 2016 presidential elections, I was pregnant with my 4th child. I'd worked in national advocacy. I was the one writing white papers, figuring out the promising practices, and I followed politics, but was just never engaged in that way, and I never thought of myself as somebody who would run. The first time I knocked on doors for a candidate was in September of 2016 on my wedding anniversary. But my husband and I, like so many of you, were just devastated by the outcomes of that presidential election. So when our new daughter was just a month old, I realized I couldn't sit on the sidelines anymore. I needed to stand up and to speak out for the values of hope, opportunity, and freedom that brought my family to this country. I needed to be the ones to do the work of building the best future for my children. No one asked me to run for office. I had 0 political connections. I didn't know the first thing about campaigns, but I just decided, how hard can it be? I'm gonna do it. Now I know what I know now. I might not have made the same decision, but I remember talking to a voter who said, I really like you. I'm just not sure if we're ready for you. I mean, you're a former refugee and you have all these kids. And I got unsolicited advice on how to speak more forcibly, how I should not cry when I talk to voters, how I should dress while canvassing, how I should hide my experience as a refugee in order to seem more American. And during my first legislative session, I got a lot of looks pushing around a stroller, people wondering, how can she have that 1-year-old and be an effective legislator with this baby in tow? Needless to say, the spaces I occupy mostly are not made for somebody like me, a woman of color, an immigrant woman, a mom of 5 young kids. When I was at the US Department of Labor in my agency, I was often the only Asian American woman in a management meeting, and one of the few women of color in any meeting. I was one of the first 2 Asian American women elected to the Virginia State Legislature, and I'm the first woman to nurse on the floor of the House of Delegates. But even now, I have to remind myself, oh, thank you. Thanks. So even when you're breaking boundaries, I have to remind myself, I don't have to wait for permission to push the change I wish to see. And as Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. So don't wait to be asked, bring your folding chair. And in conclusion, yes. In conclusion, it's my favorite Vietnamese proverb again, so you can take a pause. Đường đi khó không khó vì ngang sông các núi, mà khó vì lòng người ngại núi ê sông. The road we take is not hard because it traverses rivers and mountains, but it's hard because we fear those rivers and mountains. Approach your path following your heart, staying in the fight, making sure everyone rises, and act. Don't wait to be asked. Having completed this Master in Social Work program in a pandemic, doing it virtually, you have built the resilience that you need, and you are able to take on anything that comes your way. You are the fiercest advocate for your clients, and you are ready to reach out, raise hope, and change society. And don't forget your folding chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy Tran, MSW, and member of the Virginia House of Delegates. That was inspirational, that was personal, and that was the motivating, very, very motivating. Thank you for your message. And now, I'd like to introduce our student speaker, Ladina Williams. Ladina, please come up. Ladina Rose Williams grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and graduated magna cum laude from Eastern Michigan University, EMU, with a Bachelor of Science degree in social work in April 2020. During her undergraduate studies, Ladina completed the Jamaica Service Learning Study Abroad program. She was stationed at Belmont Basic School in the parish of Westmoreland, concentrating on community engagement and supporting resource development. While residing in Georgia, she was actively involved in weekly Feed and Clothe the Hungry advocacy work, organized by local sectors within Atlanta's Rastafarian community. She also served as a primary support to corporate engagement coordinator at Children's Home and Aid Society in Chicago, Illinois. Upon completing her graduate studies at the School of Social Work as an advanced standing and global activities scholar, Williams plans to continue to advocate for immigrant equality and inclusion on both local and global platforms. Among many forms of communicative expression, Williams is a writer, a dancer, and a photographer. She stands in position to engage with intentionality while using art as an instrument to cultivate cultural connections for social change. A first-generation college graduate and proud Wolverine, Ladina recognizes the imperative of diligence in the field of social work and that the process of impact must unambiguously begin with honoring and uplifting the voices of people whom social workers aim to represent. Please join me in welcoming Ladina to the podium. Ladina Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Videka. Good afternoon, graduates, faculty, family, and friends. In processing my experiences into the framework of a poem, I will be presenting a written reflection of my personal cognitions with a hint of sarcasm. However, influenced and inspired by collective discussions, peer engagement, presentations, and insightful resources provided throughout the experience of Dr. Barrett's Critical Reflexive Global Practice course. Please allow yourselves to listen objectively with the mindfulness of self-accountability. Globally defined, to promote social change, empowerment, development, and liberation of people. You find yourself in global spaces and under-resourced places to liberate the indigenous, with the disguise of Western frameworks gifted as individualism, because your research has measured development through the empowerment of its colonizer. So, as migrants cross from Libya through the terrain of Mexico's Sonoran Desert, and while displaced refugees from Central Africa continue to arrive in Europe for the price and in pursuit of life, surely, in the midst of crisis, there is time to revert to reflexive critical thinking. Postmodernism, postcolonialism, positivism, neocolonialism, collectivism, universalism, indigenization. As babies hungry cry for their mothers, and parents are in search of children who have already taken their final breath. There are families separated by, confined within, camps with the concentration of centering detention. Because the homeland has not secured its own land from the masterful divergence of its own terrorists. Surely, in the midst of crisis, there is time to revert to reflexive, critical thinking. As apparently, more important than being present is your presence and global expeditions in communities of color, mission work in communities of color, research in communities of color, imposed Western ideologies in communities of color, and program development in communities of color, supported by your accredited academic analysis, Eurocentrically translated to represent them. Because your traveled experiences are validated over their lived ones, and global contributions have confused and excused subliminal white supremacist epistemologies for service, aid, and help. So, as we begin our practice, enter it not overconsumed with reflexive, critical thinking, but the competency to navigate with humility through cultural capacities unfamiliar, with the sense of critical urgency, as if your life depends on it, and because your clients just might. I urge you to not find yourself in the complexities of a privileged savior. Instead, let us constructively challenge ourselves to objectively enter social work and advocacy with the preparedness to first be led, understanding more important than your mere presence is the intentionality of not causing harm in being present. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ladina, for that beautiful contribution to our ceremony. And now, graduates, this is the moment you've been waiting for. At this time, I would like to present the newest University of Michigan Centennial graduating class of summer 2021. We will begin the individual presentation in recognition of each graduate and the hooding of each graduate. Would the marshals, readers, hooders, and Alumni Board of Governors representative please take their places as we begin the presentation of graduates. And graduates, as you join me across the stage, today we're going to bump elbows instead of the usual handshake, and I'm going to happily present you with a congratulatory gift from the school, a University of Michigan business card holder to which you will use in beginning your professional life. We also have some graduates who are celebrating with us online today, and their photo will be shown on the screen as their names are read. And now we'll begin the presentation.
Ladina Rose Williams. Gabriella Mara Resurrection Abelo. Danielle Elizabeth Awad. Dua Habib Al-Halal. Liz Osman. Sarah Augustiniak. Nisreen Al-Mahani. Elizabeth Adeleye. Leticia Gracila Abran Rodriguez. Ali Ali, Master of Social Work and Master of Information. Alexis Babb. Leslie Brajas. Leon Devon Barber Jr. Jasmine Bradford. Shannon Dawn Barnes. Zainab Abid Bashir. Megan Biscamp. Brendan Bell. Robin Burke. Deborah Ann Bletstein. Josh Borgelt. Kelsey Bryce. Eleanor Mary Brown. Abigail Brozowski. Matt Brunel. Taylor Birch. Milton Bernard Carthens. Hannah Elizabeth Carey. Rebecca Casey. Amber Cobbs. Grace Conrad. Nicole Claire Cornick. Brooke Brooke Cunningham. Claire Marie Denton Grinchick. Lindy Rose Doyle. Debbie Durham. Jacqueline Deneau. Hey, she was just rolling. Aaron Davies. Sydney Caitlin Edmondson. Patrick S. Edwards. Raquel Ellis. Aruba Fatima. Fallon Flaherty. Umbreon Helena Ford. Danielle Fournier. Alexis Freed. Coleman Fresquez. Kamal Tamor Ghazi. Madison Griffith. Douglas Griffiths. Christopher Hammi. Sarah Havlick. Bethany Hindra. Sergio Hernandez. Joshua Halsworth. Brooke Maria Camilleri Howard. Tori Hughes. Micaiah James. Kayla Geralds. Michelle King. Hanan Khalil. Christina Colias. Jeremy Korber.
Courtney Rose Kulik. Donovan Camaro. Ivy Lamb. Brooklyn Maddox. Sierra Nicole Mackel. Megan Molaski. Ella Marks. Rebecca May. Tara McCartney. Sion McCollum. Keontae McKinley. Casey Messenger. Jessica Moran. Betsy Nash. Blake Newman. Erica Nixon. Michaela Parrott. Megan Paragord. Joel Peters. Joseph Pierce. Neva Polanski. Heather Rice. Amy Rodriguez. Rachel Roston. Chelsea Solem. Miranda Santoya. Paris Schuster. Caitlin Shoemaker. Atticus Solomon. Claudia Spencer. Jasmine Steele. Rebecca Steiner. Catherine Stevens. Erica Sturgeon.
Julia Sultana. Leslie Teddy, Master of Social Work and Master of Higher Education. Megan Elizabeth Tobin. Gloria Tonks. Callie Torkelson. Victoria Elizabeth Turner. Lauren Valdez. Sebastian Vidal. Hannah Visser. Micah Webb. Kaylee Hart-Wachter. Denasia Williams. Kenneth Worth. Lucas White. Rama Zahid. Andrea Elmer. Daniel Dillard. We will now read the names of our MSW graduates who are celebrating online with us today. Morgan Burgard. Laura Clyde. Laura Hayden. Dominique Hollis. Ryan Israel. Sarah Knapp, Masters of Social Work and Masters of Public Health. Morgan Eileen Lale. Victoria Lichtman. Kelly Lavorne. Keyshawn McMiller. Tanaya Omolo, Masters of Social Work and Masters of Public Policy. Jonah Stabinsky. Mackenzie DeKessian. Keisha C. Toole. And last, but certainly not least, Lauren White. fabulous. I now invite the MSW summer class and Centennial class of 2021 to please stand. On behalf of the Regents of the University of Michigan, I confer upon you the Master of Social Work degree. Congratulations, graduates. Now, take those tassels on your cap and move it from the right to the left side of your cap as a symbolic gesture that you are now alumni of the University of Michigan. And this group deserves every whistle, every cat call, every yelling out. Absolutely. Congratulations. I now ask the graduates to be seated. And graduates, please remember, graduation does not mark the end of your relationship with the University of Michigan School of Social Work. As alumni, we hope that you stay connected and engaged through the numerous social and professional development opportunities offered by the school's Office of Alumni and Development Relations. And now, graduates, it is your turn. It is your turn to turn, find your family and loved ones in the audience, look at them, those people who stood by and supported you as you achieved your educational goals. We all know that family and friends' support and encouragement make the great accomplishments of our students possible. Graduates, please recognize your family members and friends. Give them a huge round of applause. Graduates and family members and friends, a great ceremony like this does not come together on its own. Many faculty, students, and staff have planned the event for today. The contributors to today's beautiful ceremony are individually recognized in the special thanks section on page 15 of your program. I want everyone who's in the auditorium who helped and contributed to today's celebration, please stand and be recognized by a round of applause for the event organizers. Yay! Well said. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the school, I'd like to thank everybody for attending our ceremony today, and I want to extend another congratulations to our graduates. Everyone, graduates, family members, and friends, please join us for a reception in honor of the graduates of the school today, immediately following the ceremony. The reception will be in the School of Social Work. The map to the school, it's a short walk, is on the back of the program. And now, before we recess, I would appreciate it if everyone would remain seated until the platform party recesses out of the auditorium. Please have a safe trip home after the reception and enjoy this very special day. Feel free to join us as we sing Hail to the Victors to close today's ceremony. The words are in your program. Go Blue! Go Blue!
Woo!